We are recording. Hi, everyone. Welcome. It's Sean Murphy, founder of Mental Profits. I hope you're having an outstanding day. If you looked at the title and you're coming here to learn a little bit about what Wallace D. Wattles in his book of Science of Getting Rich is talking about, my guess is you're already having a pretty good day. If not, maybe you want to have a good day. I think that would be a fair thing. So what I'm doing is I'm just going through bits and pieces. Yesterday, episode 1, had a couple of gentlemen from Houston who came through and just had an absolute wonderful time sharing with them some ideas about the science of getting rich. So I'm going to share with you my takes on it. Folks, I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer, but I am the biggest fork. I've learned over the years that I can help people get what they want in a little bit faster time than they thought possible. So if this is something you like as we go through it, you're more than welcome to let me know you like it by giving the little props there on the online. And if you think this is something valuable, maybe you want to share it with your friends, you can tell the little bird there over on the left-hand side and invite them to learn a little bit more about what we're doing. So I want to read the preface to this book, Science of Getting Rich. A pretty powerful book, written about the same time Napoleon Hill's book was written. What's the name of that book that we all know about? Right? Think and Grow Rich. So the introduction. This book is pragmatical, not philosophical. It means that it's the real essence of the science behind getting rich. See, if we can launch a rocket from Cape Canaveral, oh, great. Well, hey, listen, if you want to jump in and join a seat and have a conversation with me, I'd love to have you do that. Because again, this isn't about me. It's about what we can do together. So I think it said pronounced Titch if it's pronounced right. If you want to join a seat, come on in. We'll have a conversation about it. There you go.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing outstanding. Where are you at today? What part of the world are you in?
I'm in the beautiful South Africa.
I love it. Okay.
Beautiful. I'm in Cape Town right now.
Oh, wonderful.
I wish you could see my view outside my window. It's insane.
Well, you can always turn your camera later.
Later on. Anyway, that book, I absolutely love that book, especially the way Bob Proctor presented that book, The Secret Science of Getting Rich. It was my first introduction to personal development, to actually understand that my thoughts will easily manifest into tangible things, right? And for a while, I started teaching that book, and I managed to combine that book in another book called The Richest Man in Babylon. So I put thumbs up on that book, big time, big time. And I read it 20 times.
Well, and every time you read it, now say your first name for me. Is it Teach?
Teach the Great.
Teach the Great. I love it. If we're not great, if we don't believe ourselves are great, he's going to believe we're great, right?
No, it's not our belief. I am great.
Yeah, that's my point. So Teach, so you read it 20 times, and each time, did you get something different out of it?
Each and every time. Because what they actually mention it in that book, right? That as you go over and over and over and over, what you see changes, right? Which means you change. And when you change, what you see changes. So it's constantly changing. And certain things mean something to you based on where you are in your journey. Right? So you miss something because, okay, you're still at level 0, but as you grow, it means something. So definitely that's a very good book. I love that book.
Well, I'm glad. So I'm going to read a little bit more of it, and then you and we can have a conversation. And I see a buddy of mine from Huancayo, Peru is on, and if he wants to join in, he's more than welcome to take one of the open seats. So Teach, yesterday I was reading some of the book. Actually, I've got the workbook, right, from Bob Proctor, from the Science of Getting Rich. So I finished yesterday. A person's right to life means his right to have the free and unrestricted use of all things which may be necessary to his fullest mental, spiritual, and physical unfolding. In other words, his right to be rich. And that's on page 1. I mean, think about that. A person's right to life means his right to have the free and unrestricted use. What does it mean, unrestricted use? If I need $1 million, I should be able to go get it. If I need an instructor, if I need Teach the Great to show up from South Africa, I should be able to have access to him. That's the neat thing about the unrestricted use. And guess what? Anytime we ask, it usually shows up. Even when we ask for the, man, I hope there's no traffic on the way to work, what do we get? We get some traffic.
More traffic on the way to work.
What if we say, listen, I would love to be able to look to my left out a great window or to my right out a great window and have an amazing view in South Africa. What do we get? We get the view that Teach has. In this book, I'll not speak of riches in a figurative way. To be really rich does not mean to be satisfied or contented with a little. No person ought to be satisfied with a little if he is capable of using and enjoying more. So the question then becomes, are you capable? Do you ever wake up saying, I wish I had more? See, you can't have the wish unless you have the ability. God's not that funny. I mean, he's got a sense of humor, but he's not going to say, listen, I'm going to give you the opportunity to think of something and then you not be able to do it. Our own ego wouldn't let us do that. But what our ego tells us is that you are limited in what you can do. That's because everyone else told us that. See, Teach tells himself he's the great. He is great. I promise you he's great. You get to know him. If you're following this, if you're watching this recording, you need to click on his icon. You need to see him and you need to follow him because this is the first time I met him. But who you are speaks so loud, I don't need to hear what you're saying. So you can bet I'm going to be following Teach. So no person ought to be satisfied with a little if he's capable of using more. The purpose of nature in beauty and richness of life. The person who owns all he wants, the person who owns all he wants for the living of all the life he is capable of living is rich. Nobody can have all he wants without plenty of money. Life has advanced so far that we've become so complex that even the most ordinary man or woman requires great amount of wealth to live in a manner that even approaches completeness. Every person naturally wants to become all he is capable of becoming. This desire to realize innate possibilities is inherent in human nature. We plant a seed, it doesn't sit there and go, oh, the ground is cold. Oh, it's wet. Oh, the sun is hot. Oh, it's raining. No, it just becomes what it's supposed to be. You were planted. Every seed, every idea you have in your mind is a seed that's been planted. And you're either going to, as Jim Rohn says, it's either going to fall on fertile ground, some's going to fall on infertile soil. The birds are going to get some. The birds are going to get some of the seeds. What about you? So Titch, what do you do? So when you put these seeds of greatness into your mind, how do you keep them fertile? Because I can promise you, there's seeds I plant that sometimes I kill. I'm getting better every day, but I'm not that good. But what do you do to keep the seeds alive? What do you do to keep the seeds growing?
Okay, for me, basically, like if you understand yourself and you understand, you may just mention Jim Rohn, for instance, right? You need to understand that there are seasons. No matter what, there are seasons, right? There's a season for planting, season for harvesting, season for you name it, right? And when you are in summer, what does that mean? That means what? Winter is going to follow and things like that. So you need to prepare yourself for that time when things change, right? So for me, each and every day, 2 hours, no less, is devoted to personal development, right? 2 hours is devoted no matter what, right? And one thing I learned is you are always exactly where you need to be. Always.
No, you're not.
That's a fact. The second thing, absolutely, which is critical, is everything that happens to you, it's your fault. Everything that happens to you is your fault. Only
Good
the
or
rich,
bad.
good or bad, everything. Only the rich would admit it. I'm a self-made millionaire, I'm a self-made billionaire, I'm a self-made whatever. The poor, they do not own up to where exactly they are.
Self-made failure. Doesn't sound so good.
But if you accept it, guess what? Your questions change. And when the question which you are asking yourself changes, your results changes based on the answer which you're going to get from that question. So if you say, okay, I'm a self-made failure, then the obvious question is, what do I need to do to change my results, right? Unless you admit that, you cannot see a change. So you need to start off by accepting exactly where you are is because of what the things which you have allowed in your thoughts. That's the most important thing. That's what I do.
Titch, that is so, I mean, for you and me, it's like we're singing in the same choir, right? We've never met, but we know the same notes. We know the same song. Because, folks, in this book, it talks about the natural laws of the universe. There's only 7 of them. And what Titch is talking about is the one law that's called the law of cause and effect. So it's all here. That's what I love about Wallace's book, is that very few people have become aware of it, because Napoleon Hill's book did such an amazing thing. And Napoleon Hill was all about the emotional side of it, the mindset. What Wallace is talking about is the exact science of getting rich. If I mix two H molecules with one O molecule, I will get water. That is science. This is the exact same thing. You'll hear me talk about in here the syllabus of there is a thinking stuff from which all things are made, in which a thought held in the substance will produce the thing that is imagined by the thought. We're going to go over that, and you're going to understand why, if you wake up in the morning and you start to have a great day, man, the whole day turns out kind of good. And if you wake up with a little bit of a bad day, right? The Secret talked about that. It showed the physical side of that. So let me go on here. Let me read another paragraph. I'm so glad you showed up, brother. This is so awesome. Success in life is becoming what you want to be. I mean, we could just close the book right there. You can become what you want to be by making use of things. Thoughts are things. Physical things are things. So by being able to use those things, you can become what you want. And you can have free use of those things as you become rich enough to buy them. Well, Sean, I'm all about taking care of people. I don't really think money is suppose you needed time. How do you buy time? The way you buy time is through being able to have free time, being able to not have to be stressed about bills, being able to be stressed about relationships, or do the children have enough food? Do the children have the right braces? Do I have them in the right schools? So I don't care. You can't tell me that it's not about purchasing something. You have to decide to buy something. You're either going to buy time or you're going to buy assets. And so in order to become rich, you have to be able to buy things. Well, if you can meditate, you heard Titch talk about 2 hours a day.
7 days a week.
You're going to be around for another 20 years. How long will it take you to get good at it? There's another book out there called The Outliers. It talks about 10,000 hours of having to become good at something, to become an expert at something.
Malcolm Gladwell. Yeah, good.
So you're going to have to deal. So Titch is doing 2 hours a day, not to mention the other 22 hours a day that it's a part of his life. Because you can't do 2 hours a day of meditation and personal development, growth, focus, and it not be a part of the other 24 hours in the day. So one more paragraph, and then I'm going to get Titch to teach me some.
No, it's a conversation.
Brother, we're here together, right? The two of us. In Napoleon Hill's book, he says, whenever two minds meet, it creates the third, the mastermind.
Mastermind.
So you're going to teach me, we'll teach each other, and we'll help each other. You can become what you want only by making use of the things, and you have free use of those things as you become rich enough to buy them. Therefore, an understanding of the science of getting rich is the most essential of all knowledge. There is nothing wrong with wanting to get rich. The desire for riches is really the desire for a richer, fuller, and more abundant life. And the desire is, and that desire is praiseworthy. A person who does not desire to live more abundantly is uncommon. I've never met anybody that wouldn't want to do more, be more, have more. There are three motives for which we live. We live for the body, we live for the mind, and we live for the soul. No one of these is better or holier than the other. This is where we talk about people. Well, I just want to help people. Well, if you really want to help people, how many people do you want to help? I want to help a lot. Well, don't you need to be rich to help a lot? Mother Teresa, people think she wasn't rich. She was one of the most powerful women in the world. She had, I kid you not, she had any place she was, there were 3 jets, different sizes, fueled and running. They were lit up, these jets, waiting to take her anywhere she needed to. She didn't have a penny. But yet she had all of this wealth. She had the free use. That's what we're talking about, the free use of things. Each is desirable. Neither the body, the mind, or the soul can live fully in one of the others if one of the others is cut short of full of life or expression. It is not right or noble to live only for the soul and deny the mind or the body. It is wrong to live for the intellect and deny the body and the soul. So that's all about everything. That's about wealth. It's about health. So tell me a little bit about what that means when you have read it 20 plus times.
Okay. It means one thing. Take one word, only one word, which I don't even need to explain. Balance.
How cool is this?
That's all you need, balance. Right?
You know,
a lot of people focus on, let's say, if you look at bodybuilders, for instance, right? You see a guy who only pushes his arms. His arms are like huge, but his legs are like tiny, 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 tiny. Does it look attractive? Definitely not, right? Just a simple, just balance.
Yep.
If you find balance in everything which you do, you find that you find more time to rest, you are more relaxed, you are more pleasant, and guess what? You are more attractive, right? And we know when a person is more attractive, I'm not talking about appearance, even though appearance will be enhanced, right? You're not as stressed. When you are more attractive as a person, opportunities come to you. If people like you, oh, you know what? I've got this cool thing I'm trying to do. I know you do that. Can you help me with it? Right? People want to do business with you. They want to be around you. So most people need, like, I'm a coach. I coach over 10,000 people, right? And the sad thing, whenever I'm doing a coaching call on personal development, less than a fraction of the people show up, as opposed to when I'm talking about something totally different, right? Yet everything else cannot happen without this. You are neglecting your mind now, right? If you neglect it, guess what? According to the secret science of getting rich, everything is equally important. So it's like you're building a house with only 3 pillars when it's supposed to be 4, or even worse, with 2 pillars as opposed to 4, right? Eventually, it will fall this way, that way, that way, that way, but it will definitely fall. So think about those kind of things. They're very, very, very important. What are your views?
Well, you are so awesome. So it is so important. It doesn't matter whether it's this cup I'm trying to, there is a balance point. There is always a balance point. Well, Sean, but the ice in here may shift or this, that's life. You have to be so strong in your balance. Isn't this balanced right now in my hand? I can either hold it like this and balance it, or I can try with just a little bit of, oh, well, I'm going to do personal development once a year. Oh, like it doesn't work for me, Teach. Well, I'm just gonna read. Well, what are you gonna do with it? Because part of balance means you have to be part of the balancing act. You have to participate. So there's people who talk about all of these things I want to do, and they go, well, it doesn't work for me. Well, they just proved they don't want it to work for them. So you need to be balanced in in health, you need to be balanced. It doesn't mean you've got to be the ideal body weight, although that may help you be more balanced. You need to have a little bit calmer life. Doesn't mean you have to go meditate for 10 hours a day, but that wouldn't hurt either. But so the question then is, so how do you get started right now? The first thing I'd ask you to do, first thing I do with my students, my clients, is I ask them, do you know how to breathe? Can you take a breath and just absolutely feel it? Do you understand diaphragmatic breathing? Breathe from the belly, not from this stress place up here. So Titch, when you're talking with your families and your friends and your clients, and they go, okay, I've hit bottom. I've had enough is enough. The day I've had enough, it's usually either given to us or we decide it. I like it when people decide it. Mm-hmm. How do you help them get started? So we've just covered. We're on page 3. I mean,
okay.
Go ahead. Tell me. Share with me, brother.
One thing about me is I'm different from most people, right? I will not work with someone.
I believe that to be very true.
I will not work with someone who does not decide for themselves that this is what they want. It's easier to go with 1,000 people who are willing to go than with one who's got their legs around your neck, right? You do not want to try to be pushing a rope, right? It's easier to pull the rope. So I only work with someone who says, you know what? I definitely need a change. Some things are not working. It's time for a change, and they are open to the change. Because for most people, remember, they are being programmed each and every day through the television, radio. Everywhere you go, you are being programmed, right? So it takes a lot to deprogram yourself. You need to go through what we call detox, right? And most people are not willing to go through that. So with me, I'm blessed. Even my own girlfriend, she's someone who's big into personal development. We are actually opening a huge wellness center here in Cape Town. Wow. It's going to be huge, right? So we are really big into this. And it goes beyond your thoughts. What you put in, the vibrations of things which you put in your body, all of those things factor into one. So for you to be able to do that, you need to be willing first. Willing. That's the first thing which you have to do.
You know, they did a study. I was reading another book by Greg Braden. He was a rocket scientist and then turned wanting to understand the science of life. And he said they did a study that if I were to take some of your DNA and put it in a little test tube over here, and I showed me movies of scary movies, of funny movies, my DNA changes. That's what makes you laugh. That's what makes you scared or excited, the emotion. The DNA in the test tube changed instantly as well. Wasn't connected to me.
Really? What experiment was it?
If you look up Greg Braden, and it's the white papers, and it was from the book called From Beyond Zero Point. The book was
called Braden?
Greg Braden, B-R-A-D-E-N. And it was the book Beyond Zero Point. And I found the white papers on it. So there's a couple of white papers they've done. One was the DNA. So Titch, if you met me, or if I scraped your hand and then came back to the United States from Cape Town, and then you went and watched a movie tonight, and I could hook that little test tube up to EEGs, EKGs, and all of that stuff. In Cape Town, when you watched the movie, this DNA changed. Now, wait, there's the rest of the story. So that was one thing. So they proved that. The next thing they talked about was in Washington, D.C. This is all about the science of mind. They said they could lower the crime rate in Washington, D.C. in July by 25%. Well, they got a bunch of mental thought creators, and they all thought and concentrated on a particular focus. And there's a white paper. The chief of police of Washington, D.C. said it would have to snow 2 feet to lower the crime rate in July by 25%. July 31st, guess how low the crime rate went?
25%.
25%. It is so specific. They can determine exactly how many positive thoughts of energy it takes to overcome, as you were saying, that detox.
Wait, so how did they do it?
They just did it from around the world. It's all of these people, they get together. They can get together through Skype or through now probably platforms like this, and they focused on what they wanted. They can go. They went as far as to say, when Bill Clinton was president, and he went and was going to go send start the war with Iraq. They actually turned the planes around and came back. It's the first time in American history we've ever started a war and then before it started said, come back. You know what was happening at the same time? This world group of people had gotten together within the same 3 to 4 hour period. And they were just talking about peace in the world. Coincidence? Wow. Yeah. So anyways, but that's all about the science of getting rich. What you think about, you bring about. What you think and think about, you bring about. So I'm going to read one more little paragraph here.
Jesus.
We're not even off of page 3 yet. An individual's highest happiness is found in the bestowal of benefits of those he loves. Good Lord, just that one sentence. The individual's highest happiness is found in the bestowal of benefits on those he loves. It's the ability to give, right? We all will do something for somebody else. But we have to. I can't tell you how many times. So there's this bottle of water. How many bottles of water can I fill up from this? Well, none. But why are you trying to go fill everybody else's bottle up when yours is empty? This is particularly a challenge for women. Not stereotypical or anything like that. Stereotypical. It's the reality of life. They give. They're programmed to give, to be that giver. So when I say, ladies, fill up your cup, they go, well, that's being selfish. Well, that's what you were taught. Forget the word selfish. I want you to turn it into the word self-full. Fill yourself up. Go get a bigger cup. But fill yourself up. That's what it says right here. An individual's highest happiness, the time we're at most joy, is found in the bestowal when we give the benefits on those we love. Love finds its most natural and spontaneous expression in giving. A person who has nothing to give cannot fulfill his place as a husband, as a father, as a citizen, or as a human being. It is in the use of material things that a person finds full life for his body, develops his mind, and unfolds his soul. It is therefore of supreme importance to be rich. I pass it off to my dear friend and mentor, the great Pete.
What? There's nothing to add there.
I know, isn't it awesome?
There's nothing to add there. There's nothing.
But interpret it. So when somebody comes to you and says, man, I got this book, I can't understand it. I want it. Help me understand this, Teach. What do I do? What do you tell them?
The book as a whole. Okay. For anyone to really truly understand this book, right, they need to understand small little principles, right? Like, for instance, 1, right? Your thoughts, what you put in is very important. 2, right? Everyone is taught to do good, right? But it is important to have the resources so that you can do good, right? So having money, a good relationship, not money, a good relationship with money is nothing, there's nothing wrong with it, right? It allows, it opens the door. Because let's say, right now, let's take, for instance, a person who's completely useless. A lot of people are going to be upset with me about this. Let's talk, for instance, Kim Kardashian, right? She's got a voice because of her wealth. It's just that simple, right? Or even though she's got nothing of value to add, right? Then you get people like Angelina Jolie, right? DiCaprio and all those, they're invited to the UN. Why aren't you invited? Why am I not invited, right? So with the right resources, it opens the door to doing more, right? But one thing which I learned from that book was to separate time and money. The amount of money which you make has got nothing to do with the amount of time. You can make any amount of money at any time. When you understand those certain principles, it's easy. Now, since the book is based on thoughts, right? The things which come in are extremely important. I'll give you an example, for instance, right? It's a common belief that things like cancer, HIV, and all those things cannot be cured, right? There's a doctor, Dr. Sebi, right? Very popular. He laughs whenever people talk about how difficult it is, right? And he says, if you can cure the flu, you can cure that, right? And he's known for curing people like Michael Jackson and all those things, right? To him, it's something small. Yet to all of us, it's something big. Cancer, oh my God, right? And before I met him, I was like, I used to go get checked all the time because in my family, there are some people who have had cancer and whatever, right? So for me, like, even with all the personal development which I do, right, I still perceive things like cancer, HIV as things which are big, right? So you need to constantly feel yourself like be around the right people. So what I did last year was I flew to Los Angeles to where this doctor's clinic is based, right? And I spent a week there. Then I flew with my family to Honduras, where his biggest base is, right? And just seeing all these things, whenever a person talks about HIV and things, I just laugh. That's easy. Go to Dr. Sebi's clinic and 7 days, you'll be good, right?
Right.
Imagine if you see someone making money, right? Like Warren Buffett, how much does he make an hour, right? And you just sit with him for like an hour and see him make, let's say, 10 million, right? Your belief about making 10 million instantly grows also. So what you need to do, like what I do, right? If you embark on a journey like this, it's important that you hang around people who are already on that journey. It's important because if you hang around people who are not part of that journey, you are constantly going to be criticized. You are constantly going to be defending what you are trying to do, right? Like, for instance, with me, I got a business partner, right? She's big into personal development. I'm big into personal development, right? When I'm going through a season of lack, right? They are there to propel me, right? It's easy. No one questions things like that, right? So protect your thoughts. Protect what goes in. Very important.
You bring up such an important part because the words in here, it is the science. This is a formula. If you've ever followed a recipe, baking a cookie or a cake or putting a car engine back together, you followed a recipe. You followed instructions. That's all this book is. I promise you. It's exactly that. And Teach, you talk about something, protect your thoughts. Dr. Shad Helmstetter, he's the father of self-talk. For 40 years, he's been teaching that. I, along with about 30 other folks, are trained in his Self-Talk Institute. We're self-talk instructors. And it starts off whenever we do a meeting. Every thought you've ever had, every word you've ever said, everything that's ever been said to you has been recorded in your brain. That which becomes repeated becomes permanent. So it's why you and I could have a conversation, or somebody for 20 years, and they go, don't you remember when we were in primary school? And you go, man, I don't remember that at all. And they keep talking. You go, oh, I remember. Well, it's because it's been recorded in your brain. So everything we ever do has been recorded. Teach talked about it earlier, about the detoxing, the eliminating. Well, they've actually, listened to this, they've gone so far as with MRIs, live MRIs, they can see new neural pathways being grown. Oh, there's people who are listening to this seminar right now thinking new thoughts, going, ooh, well, that's different. And if they don't nurture that new thought, what you're saying, if they don't plant that seed, it could die. But they've also found out that the old things, folks, here's the good news that Teach was talking about when he says, if you just put more and more and good in there, they call it neural pruning. Those old patterns shrink up just like a tree that's not given any nutrition. They've gone as far as the left prefrontal cortex stores all the positive neurons, and the right prefrontal cortex stores the negative, and they can count them.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. There's another study which was done. This is very, very important. For people who don't believe the power of thought, this is extremely important. I think you might have heard about it. There was a study done. What they did was they took a hand robot, right, and mounted a paintball gun. So all it did was shoot, right?
Okay.
It was completely a complete robot mounted. No human beings could manipulate it. So what they did was they took a group of people and put them in their room next to it. So it started shooting. All the paintballs are hitting the exact same spot. And the people were told to imagine the paintballs veering to the left. And they're in the next room, right? This robot is just shooting. And when they started thinking, all the paintballs started shifting and veering to the left, right? So they wanted to do a step further. So they took a group of people in a totally different country and got them to imagine all the paintballs veering to the right from a different country. And guess what? As this machine was shooting, all the paintballs were veering to the right. So what you think about, people don't understand one thing. The life you are living right now is a result of what you did in the past, not what you're doing right now. So you might think of something right this moment, and nothing happens. It doesn't mean it's not going to affect your life. Eventually, one day it comes in, and you'll be wondering, where did this come from? You'll have forgotten that thought which you brought into your reality. So it's very important. If you've got a negative thought, acknowledge it, let it go, and replace it with something more pleasant, which you'd want to live, because you're going to live that in the future. Whether it's today, tomorrow, it's going to be a part of your life.
A Nobel Peace Prize was given in science that says that the cell that duplicates, the new cell that duplicates, is as a result of, and we know this from science, but it's a result of what the cell was at the instant before duplication. So we replace ourselves every 7 years. We're millions and billions. So what Teach is saying is that that thought that you're having right now is reproducing the cells that are in your body right now. Do you want them to be happy? Do you want them to be sad? There's people, why is it that when my son, who's 11 years old, who only knew his grandfather for a very short time, still does things today that his grandfather did? Because it's part of the DNA. It's part of our makeup. So if you want to make that change, well, Sean, Teach, you guys don't know. You guys are lucky. You've had a great life. I'd love to compare notes. We could probably have an interesting story. What we're doing right now, see what we're doing right now? We're laughing. We could think of how sad our life has been, right? And peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, I wish I knew how to get jelly. Bread would have been great. The point is, we made that choice. We said enough is enough. I'm in control of me. And if my environment is a result of my thoughts, I want an environment that's filled with joy, filled with love. And if I have a bad day, guess what? Everyone around me has a bad day. So I know it's not easy, but it's simple. That's the neat part. You can do this. You can read this book like we've read it, hundreds and hundreds of pages and 20, 30, 40 times. And it'll start to work into your DNA. It won't happen in the instant, but it'll happen in the moment. That's two different moments in time. When it does happen in the moment, it'll be in the instant, and you will get it, and it'll start to sink in. Because I can promise you, and I don't know Teach, but I'll say this because I've heard him talk. If he can do it, if I can do it, you can do it. I promise you. Teach, what are your thoughts on that?
One thing people don't realize is if you see a person, let's say in personal development, right? Take some time, ask them how they got into it. Chances are they reached the end of their rope. And like, for instance, for me, everything else had failed.
But Teach, you're the success. You've coached 10,000 people. You were never the failure.
Okay. You know quarters, right?
Right.
I had $1.75 in quarters. I was in Miami, right? My mom was here in South Africa. It was pouring, raining. I was standing in front of a phone booth debating, do I use this $1.75 to call home for help, or do I save it for tomorrow to find something to eat? That's where I was. That's when I decided, you know what, enough is enough. Something has to change. And for something to change, I had to change. The thoughts which I was focused on, everything had to change. And I'm blessed enough to say, like, I'm not perfect. I'm far from it. But it's like, what I did first was I picked up a nice TV. I used to live on the third floor, right?
Right.
Picked up the TV, threw it out of the window. That was the best decision I've ever made. And since then, books like The Alchemist, Richest Man in Babylon, Think and Grow Rich, Secret Science,
How to
all
win
of
friends
those.
and influence people.
Pardon?
Yeah. How to win friends and influence people.
Oh, Robert Cialdini. And I spend most of my time. I don't know if you know this lady, Esther Hicks.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Jerry and Esther Hicks.
Yeah.
Sure.
So
Abraham.
Yeah, I'm crazy about those. It's very, very important. And let me just tell you, when I started on this journey, I had a net balance in my bank account of minus $7,000, right? And for an African, that's like owing at least $100,000, right? So I started doing all this, trying to practice all of these things, and I saw like, oh my God, okay, I'm out of debt. Oh wow, right? Then I'm on 10,000. I make 10,000. Then after that, do you know where I went? I went to like owing more than 20,000, right? Because I was satisfying one thing, which was the money thing, but not focused on balance, right? When I introduced balance into my life, like right now, I've got thousands of people around the world who pay attention when I speak. Money comes to me from multiple sources in increasing quantities.
1,001 now. I'm always going to listen.
So I'm blessed because of where I choose to invest my time. I am really blessed. Right now, I've got 4 different cars, and I fly to a different country every month, right? The reason is I changed what I saw. I changed what I focused on. The me I used to be is not the same me who's sitting here. All my friends, unfortunately, left because we were not the same. The friends I had before loved complaining, and misery loves company, right? When you stop complaining or when you stop entertaining their complaints, no, we can't be friends anymore. You think you are more special, right? So it's better for you to elevate yourself than to stay around people who are dragging you down. The choice at the end of the day, it's yours. The choice is yours. The information is there. But are you willing to go through and do what it takes? Read the books. Don't only read the book, because reading the book won't do anything. Implement the things. That's the key. If you don't, you can read. This is strange. Everyone who gets into personal development talks about Think and Grow Rich, right? And that book, I read it, right? I have to be honest. It didn't do anything for me. Like, I read it. It was when I discovered Secret Sense of Getting Rich. It really made sense. I could really see it. And when I took Secret Sense and Getting Rich, The Richest Man in Babylon, Abraham Hicks' teachings, everything really made sense. Everything really made sense. And right now,
here's the neat thing that Teach is talking about. He's talking about all of these different things, right? The free use of things. There's only 26 letters in the alphabet. He didn't make them. I didn't make them. Esther didn't. Napoleon Hill didn't. Wallace D. Wattles didn't. It's the way that they put these things in order. It's the vibration that they created. When we read those words, the vibration it creates in us. Because when we read the book, I don't hear Wallace saying it. I hear me saying it. And when we can read it in a way that we start to believe it, that's why people can read personal development books and never succeed from them, because they don't start to put it into action. Because it's their own words, it's their own thoughts saying, you're great, you're this, you can have the free use, it's your right to be rich, and your ego is going, you're full of crap. Keep reading the book, but you're full of crap. Are you kidding? You think that book is going to help you? Nothing has helped. This is the thoughts going on in our head. We have 50 to 60,000 thoughts a day. We're conscious of maybe a couple of thousand. It means all 45, 50,000 crappy thoughts from yesterday, yesterweek, yesteryear keep coming over. And as Teach said earlier, if we don't feed it and make the better ones better, they're going to die because of what we thought yesterday. It's not what we're doing this second, he said. What we think this second, what we are this second is from yesterday. So how do you overcome all of that? And what he said is fill your brain, feed it. It's when he put this certain formula together, Science of Getting Rich,
Richest Man in Babylon,
and then
The Alchemist.
Abraham Hicks. That was his formula that went, and now 10,000 people around the world, different country every month, thousands of people. He picks up the phone and goes, it's me. And they all go, yes. If anybody wants to jump in, has some questions, I mean.
Yeah, please take a seat, guys. Let's have the discussion.
This is what we love to do. I mean, who else would just show up like this? He sees Science of Getting Rich. He goes, I got to see if this guy knows what he's talking about, right?
How did you? Those are my thoughts exactly.
Oh, trust me. If I saw somebody else doing that, I'd have said the same thing. Let's see if they understand the book at its core meaning, not just the words. So no.
So I have to ask, did you read The Alchemist?
Yes.
That's like the first time I read that book, I did not really get it, right? The second time, that's when I was like,
So it proves what we've been talking about. Who you are changes, and now the same words in the book are the same words, but we're different. That's awesome.
And the meaning is different also.
Night and day.
So I'm really like, I'm very passionate about personal development, right? My challenge is people are not as open to it. And yet, like, for instance, I teach how to build a business online, right? And people want formulas for, Facebook formula. They want Google formula and things like that. And I always tell them, you need to start with the you. If you change you, everything else fits, and you're going to get the results which you are looking for, right? So, and I always tell, like, my mother, right? My mom, she frustrates me more than anyone else. When she wakes up, first thing she says, oh, I've got a headache. Oh my God, my back is sore. I don't know how long I'm going to live. You know, obviously you're going to live a very short life. You're going to always be seek, because that's all you speak about, right? If you change your vocabulary, right? If you talk health, wealth, and all that into existence, right? Everything's going to change. But most importantly, if you read can you see my profile on Blog?
Yes.
What does it say?
It says, affirmations without action are hallucinations. Success will never come through osmosis.
Exactly. You have to get up and actually practice what you are learning, right? You can read a million books. If you don't actually live and practice and like submerge yourself into that, you're not going to change. You're trying to change something which was programmed into you over a lifetime. So it takes the same amount of effort. Submerge yourself. Take your TV, throw it out of the window, right? When you are driving, listen to personal development. When you are eating, listen to personal development. Seek quiet places where you can meditate and really understand you, the person you are, right? And most importantly, know that you are always exactly where you are supposed to be at that exact moment. So accept that, right? But doesn't mean you should settle. Those are totally two different things. You are exactly where you're supposed to be. It doesn't mean that's where you're going to be tomorrow. It doesn't mean that's where you're supposed to be tomorrow. Most people are stuck, still climbing up an old mountain where they are supposed to be scaling a new one, right? Open up yourself to the world. It's very, very important.
And folks, so I'm going to ask you one more question. So if you're going to succeed, who do you need to get permission from to succeed? From yourself. And that's the biggest fear, because we blamed our life on everything, everyone else. We started off with this. I'm a billionaire. I'm a millionaire. I'm a self-made failure. Nobody's saying that.
I like that.
I'm a self-made failure. You want to join me? But you got to start somewhere. You've got to say, I'm sorry. I am taking control of my life right now. If we don't give ourselves forgiveness for what happened, we will always live in this state of guilt. It's okay. Congratulations. It's your fault where you're at. Good, bad, or indifferent. Start where you're at. When you start to read a new book and you read a good book and it starts to change the way you think, you're watching this video, you're part of this conference, and you say, my God, I can do it. If these chuckleheads can do it, I can do it. But then what's going to happen is that when you leave here, the world shows up. You need to come back and get refilled. You need to fill your cup up. You need to follow Teach the Great. You need to follow me. You need to follow anyone who inspires and motivates you. Because what I say today may not zing you, energize you as much as what Teach could say today. So you always got to find that source. Your soul is looking for that source. Your energy is needing that source. You are wanting to be more. That's why you can't sleep at night. It's not because of the bills. The bills are going to be there if you got $1 million. Mm-hmm. It's not because of the relationship. The relationship's going to be there whether you're healthy or not. It's this desire. It's this burning passion to be more that's keeping you up. That's making you not feel well, that's got that knot in your stomach, just like this, because you know you can be more. You got to let go. Mm-hmm. Can't get to second base with your foot on first base.
Exactly.
You got to let go. And guess what? There's going to be people out there. I know that Teach would say the same thing. We're not the greatest folks in the world. We're pretty darn good at what we do. But we're not. There's other people out there. We'll be there to catch you. People like us will be there to catch you with spirit, with emotional, with conversation. And we'll be there to help you through this. But we're not going to carry you. We've carried enough people on our shoulders, and we can't walk. It's enough for us to carry ourselves. But we'll let you walk with us. We'll let you join us on this journey. We'll help you. We'll say, nope, don't go that way. You may want to go this way. But pay attention to your energy. We're there to help hold people accountable. Most people don't want to be held accountable, so we had to come up with different names. Come up with coaching and training and loving, and I do a 3-step process called clarify, qualify, create expectation. It's the same thing. So we've got some folks here who have joined us. If anyone's got questions, feel free to ask a question. Jump in the seat. But I know, Teach, you just joined in here. We didn't have this scheduled. This is how the universe works. Here I am, Dallas, Texas. We got Cape Town, Africa. That's more than just around the block. And here we are, same concept. See, it's about a psychographic, not a demographic. I've never been to Cape Town. I'm not in the same demographic as Teach. Teach isn't in the same demographic as me, but I can promise you this, we're in the same psychographic, the way we think. That's what we're looking for. We get the same psychographic of people, the way they think, who want more, do more, be more, and they show up. It's not 1 and 1, it becomes 11, right? So this is just an opportunity for us to all be more. Because I know I've learned a lot with Teach teaching me today, and he's maybe picked up 1 or 2 things, but it's this mastermind. It's this mastermind. So
you see, like, most people don't realize this is the only thing. If you focus on this and you correct this, you become successful. If you don't correct this, right, any business, tricks, anything, it won't help. I've been there. Last year, if it wasn't for personal development, I wouldn't be sitting here with you guys today. I lost a business which was doing 3.3 million, right? I just received an email from my merchant to say we have been shut down, right? My life completely changed, right? If it wasn't that I accepted that everything happens for a reason and everything that happens is my fault and I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, I wouldn't be here today. And it took a lot of personal development to get over that. But I'm glad I went through that journey, because now I can teach people things which I learned during that process where other people like are completely clueless about. So personal development, focus on that first before anything else.
Yeah, because without that, $1 million will turn into nothing again. Teach, somebody put that egg guy, welcome that egg guy. Again, I tell you, the question is, it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for someone who is rich to enter the kingdom of God.
Not true. Not true. Not true, right? This is one thing which is very, very important, right? It depends. Most people think rich means money, right?
Right.
Rich and money are two different things, right? So you need to accept that. And most people are taught that money is the root of all evil, right? Which is not true, right? You can't do, like right now, I started an orphanage in Romania. I built 2 schools here in Africa, one in Botswana, one in Zimbabwe, right? I was never going to be able to do that without any money, right? 2 broke people can't do anything. I can tell you right now, right? That's why you never see a broke person becoming a president. You're just not going to see it, right? No one listens to you if you don't have something to contribute, right? And if you look at most of the pastors and everyone, right, including Jesus, for instance, right? I don't know much about the Bible. Including Jesus was extremely wealthy because he could get anything done, right? He had the following, right? Same as when you look at Mother Teresa, she could do anything and everything at the click of the fingers, whatever was there, right? So if you look at Mother Teresa, don't even think for a moment that she was poor or broke, right? The lifestyle she lived was a poor, broke person cannot live that lifestyle. The countries she visited, if you don't have money to fly for even a plane ticket, you're not going to go anywhere, right? So if you feel money is wrong, guess what? You are going to repel it, right? trust me, money is not going to come to you, because the vibration which you are sending out do not attract money. There was a time when I hated all rich people, right? Oh, these rich people, right? Why don't they share? Like, oh my God, there's poverty around the world, and some people, like, they are buying a private jet, right? It was when I accepted that money will make my life better. Money started coming to me. And guess what?
Right.
My life is better. 2 schools and an orphanage. I'm doing some good.
Wow. Anna just joined us. I don't know. She may have. Anna, can we hear you? Nope, can't hear her. Her internet is okay. She's so yeah. I believe I know the phrase out of the Bible. I can't tell you exactly where it comes out of the Bible, but the key is that this is what in U.S. this is $20, but what is this worth? It's not worth anything till I do what with it. See what I think they're talking about, and again, I'm not a philosopher of the Bible. They're talking about people who are rich who try to hold on to everything, who think that status is more important than ability to do things. This only becomes rich when it comes to me and flows from me. That's what riches are. It's the ability to turn it into something. So I believe that the concept of rich is trying to just hoard everything, as opposed to wealth, which is trying to be able to do everything at any time, at any moment. So we've got a question here from my buddy in Peru. Is there a way to help people put all of these readings into action? I mean, I know a lot of people who read a lot, but they're stuck in that flat line of their lives. That's why I would like to know how we could ignite that damp gunpowder. Well, I'll touch on it first, because I know we're gonna. I don't talk with anybody unless their gunpowder's dry. Would probably be teachers' work. But here's the thing: you got to decide. They're up here. They're in their head. I've shared with you all before, the folks who have followed me in trainings. We got to get out of our head and into our heart. I can promise you, if you have never done something before, say a marathon. If you put my son at the top of one of the tallest buildings in downtown Dallas and said, Sean, you've got to run 25 miles. And I go, I can't run a mile. Oh, let me finish it. If you don't finish it by Sunday morning, that's like less than maybe 14 hours from now, we're going to throw Mason off a building. How long do you think it would take me to run 25 miles? I'd get it done in a heart. I would kill myself doing it. Where right now, I probably need to run 25 miles for my health and for all of that, but I won't do it for me. It said it in the book in Think and Grow Rich. It's the bestowal of benefits on all of the people that are reading it. You got to go back to why. It's not a status symbol to have this book on my shelf. I promise you. Some people may think it is. Oh, wow, he's got a library of 2,000 books. Great. Doesn't do me a damn bit of good unless I'm enacting it, because people will know if I've read the books or not based on how I'm acting. So how do we ignite that gunfire, that damp gunpowder? Get to their why. Shake them by the head and go, are you going to wait for it in this life or the next life to win your dreams? Teach, I'm going to turn it over to you. What do you think about that?
Okay, good. What you mentioned is very, very important, right? The reason why, the why. Right, that's a major motivating factor. Like, I don't know if you were there when I was talking about my story. When I decided to pursue this journey, I was standing in front of a phone booth in America, in Miami, right? 1,000,000 miles away from home. I was in tears. Fortunately for me, it was raining. No one could see that I was crying, right? I had $1.
Oh, I'm going to borrow that one. I'll give you credit 3 times.
I had $1.75 in my hands. It was enough to make the call home, right? But it was also enough to eat tomorrow, right? So I knew at that point that what I was doing was not working, right? It wasn't working for a long time, but at that point, it was enough is enough. Why was I there? I wanted to give the one person who had given me an amazing life growing up, my mom, everything which she couldn't afford. So I could not afford to fail, right? So what I was doing was failing, so I changed. I pursued personal development to change me first. So now this is very important for those who have been reading these books and not seeing any results. You need to realize that it took years and years of programming to where you are right now, right? Exactly who you are right now. It didn't take one day. It took years and years and years, right? So to deprogram that, it's going to take a lot of work. It doesn't necessarily take years, but you have to realize one thing, which is effect. If you take a burger right now, a McDonald's burger, whatever, and you scarf it down, as soon as you finish, I guarantee you, you are not going to be fat. But if you eat another one, over time, right, you will see a difference, right? So just like personal development, if you read the whole book today, you're not going to be changed. You're still going to be the same person. But if you practice and you consume yourself in it over time, no matter what, you will change. You might not notice it, but you will be completely different. Because what you are feeding the body is different. Same like if you want to lose weight, right? You can do all those exercises, right? Or you can do one thing. No, it's just two things, right? Eat less and exercise a little bit. Over time, you lose weight. It's just that simple. You don't need to have, there's no, it's just a fact, right? Same like the secret sense of getting rich, right? You follow the steps, you get to the end result. You're not only going to be monetary rich, right? You're also going to be a completely rich person in and out. You health, everything about you is going to be transformed, right? So that's my take on it.
You know, Teach, it's so valuable. And folks, he's absolutely right. There's not one of us who have gotten healthy in a day. There's not one of us who have gotten unhealthy in a day. There's not myself. I'm 51. No, I'm 50 years old.
51. We know it now.
Age is a measure of time. Somebody else gave me the number. I'm 18 all the time. So the point is that my journey, I know the day my journey started. It started when I was 14 years old. There was a very traumatic experience inside of our family that caused me to say, you know what? I choose not to have a bad day again. I didn't know what it meant when I said those words, but that was 14 years ago, when I was 14 years old. So I've been in the study and the development of human potential, human nature, human ability for the last 30 plus years. And I'm starting to get the hang of it. But what Teach said is that it happens over time. Our programming has happened over the years because it happened, for the most part, unconsciously. We watch TV because our parents watch TV or because our friends are watching TV. We read things or didn't read things because our friends were or weren't. So when you start to dive into books like this is like getting a shot of adrenaline. And if you're not prepared for what it can do to you in a very short time, you will put it back down. You will say, wait a minute, that's too fast. It talks about here, if you want an oak tree to grow, the thought of it will eventually produce the oak tree. You can speed it up by planting the dang seed and then taking care of it. So it's all about how fast do you want to get better. There's people, I come out of the network marketing industry. There's people who are broke, living in their parents' basement on Christmas Eve, and by June of that year, they have a $100,000 house. Well, they weren't ready for it on Christmas Eve, but they had prepared for it for their entire life. They knew they wanted it. They just needed the right path. That's why I teach, and I love what we do, because when people are ready for it, we're able to raise the gate that says, okay, you can now go. You've got the support. You've got the team. We'll keep you on the path, and we'll help you through that process. But we can't drive the car for you. You got to get in and drive it. You have to decide, do you eat the McDonald's burger or do you eat the apple? What are you going to do? So I appreciate y'all being here. Teach, I'd love to do this with you on a regular basis, brother, whenever you can, because this is just awesome. What time is it in Cape Town?
Right now it's 6 p.m.
Oh, awesome.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
See you. Bye.
It's cricket. I don't know, it's rugby. It's the Rugby World Cup. The Springbok, the national team, they are playing today, so I have to go. I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
Before you leave, the whole point was that we were so focused on this, and now a new thought came in with a new result came in, and he goes, this is no longer the thing I need to do right now. That's the perfect example.
So let me go. Sean, thank you so much. I really appreciated the time and you having me. I hope to do this again.
I'd love to do this. We'll make
thank you,
brother.
Bye for now.
Oh my gosh, was that awesome or what? Oh, I love what I get to do. Here I am sitting here. I threw this up about an hour ago and I said, I'm going to keep doing the science of getting rich, and the things that need to come in will come in. And here we go. Here's somebody absolutely incredible. Teach the Great from South Africa, Cape Town. How cool was that? Well, folks, if anyone has questions, you know, this is what we love to do. We love to share. We love to help people who want help. This isn't about force feeding or anything else. If you want to do it, you can do it. I can promise you this. I promise you this. I've stood on stage in over 30 countries around the world, been translated in over 35 languages. That and 35 cents doesn't get you a cup of coffee, but I can tell you this. Everyone I've ever spoke to, everyone I've ever sat with, everyone who's ever been in my audience, I promise you this, they all had the ability to do what they wanted. We all do. There's nothing I can do that will help you do better, that will help you do more. It's maybe an idea that you will take and incubate in your own mind that will help you release and to become the person you're wanting to become, but it can't be me. It's not me. It'll never be me. I know that for a fact. And I'm not that guru who stands up and says, you got to do what I do, say what I do, eat what I eat. Good Lord, I don't want anyone to have to work that hard because I'm still trying to figure it out. I have the title of life coach. I'm a trained, certified professional life coach, but I'm still trying to figure out my life. But what I can do is if we work together and if we're part of this community, I might be able to give you some ideas to help you get better faster, to help you do what you want to do a little sooner, right? The reason that we ask people who have been down the road before us is to ask them, how do I avoid the stumps in the way, the rocks in the way, the trees across the way? How do I keep from tripping? How do I get where you got? Is there a way to get there a little faster? Is there a way to get there with a little less pain? That's what this is about. So if this has been of some value, share it with somebody. This has been recorded. I love the fact that you all are here, and there's some folks that's coming on. We're just getting ready to wrap up here. But feel free to watch the recording. It's going to be up there in the back office. Find me on Facebook. You're going to have to find me on my fan page. My personal page is full, and I don't know how it got full, but it did. I had to accept all those folks, right? So I wish you a blessed day. I hope you take an idea. I hope you take a little seed from today and plant it. And in the words of Jim Rohn, as we leave here today, a little bit of me goes with you. But more importantly, everyone who's on here, your energy, the props that you're given, a little bit of your energy goes with me. So for that, I'm grateful and my family's grateful. I'm Sean Murphy, founder of Mental Profits, and I'll see you where? At the next event. And if you want to see some audios of my podcast, you can go to mentalprofits.com. Check that out. There's a couple of neat audios you can download for there's no fee, hour-long audios on some trainings, personal development, and we'll go from there. Until then, I'll see you where? At the next event. Till then,